Namaskar, we're going to begin in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, please sit comfortably, sitting in any comfortable posture, sitting with the back straight but not stiff, back, neck and head in a straight line. Close your eyes gently, relax the expression on the face. Bring your attention to the belly. As you breathe in, let the belly expand. As you breathe out, let the belly return back. Keep the attention in the belly as it expands and shrinks. Today's meditation is an antidote to the fast-breaking news cycle. Every day bringing in only terrible bits of news. For this sitting, you're going to need a friend. So think about a friend, a loved one, a parent, a sibling, a child, someone who's really dear to your heart. Think about that person. Take this time, the first couple of minutes of today's sitting, to just identify that person. Finding someone who's close to your heart, a friend, a relative, a parent, a sibling, a child, someone really dear to you, and holding their memory in your heart, remembering your latest interaction that was positive. We're going to use that experience for our heart. So look for a friend, a relative, a parent, a loved one, anyone who's dear to your heart in the next couple of minutes. We're about to begin. In today's sitting, we're going to be countering or curing our heart from all the negative news that's swirling around, always seems to be swirling around. You're going to need a friend. So before we begin our sitting today, think about a friend, a loved one, a parent, a sibling, anyone who's near and dear to your heart. You're going to visualize their presence later in today's sitting. So before we begin, in another minute or so, find that person and just remember their name. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. Sitting with the back straight, back, neck and head in a straight line. The eyes are closed, the shoulders are relaxed, the belly is moving freely with the breath. Now bring your palms together at the heart center. Pressing the palms together gently and gently bringing the fingers together and touching the back of the thumbs into the chest. This is the heart center, the psychic heart center, like a little lotus flower that blooms open and then closes shut. Keep the attention right here. We're going to chant Om 3 times and then the opening prayers, Sahana Bhavatu. Exhale completely and take a deep breath. Inhale. 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 Inhale and chant. Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karvavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take your arms behind you, grab your right wrist with your left hand and then breathing in, stretch. Breathing out, bend forward in a deep sense of surrender. Come back up, breathing in, release your hands and place your palms in your lap. Keep your eyes closed. Keep the eyes closed. As you sit here, first, observe your current state. Bring your attention to the heart center and simply ask yourself, how do I feel? Does the heart feel heavy? Does the heart feel light? Does the heart feel expansive? Does the heart feel narrow? Does the heart feel wide and open? Does the heart feel closed? Does the heart feel warm? Does the heart feel cold? Just without making any judgments, without wishing for any change, simply observe. Now, keep the attention in the heart center. Bringing the attention to the events of the day. I'm going to ring the bell. When I ring the bell, keep the attention in the heart and just evaluate on the spot if your heart feels any change. There's a pandemic going on all around us. Millions of people are sick. Thousands, hundreds of thousands are dead. The pandemic is closing in on us. In our cities, in our neighborhoods, around our near and dear ones. There is racial injustice all around, causing talks of a revolution, protests all around. Images of protests that you've seen already flash before your mind's eye. Burning cars, people with placards, run-ins with the police. In another country, ethnic protests. The economy in this country is going down. A recession like there's never been before. Take stock of your heart and see how you feel. The economy is down, continuing to fall with no end in sight. Joblessness is up, the highest it's ever been in many generations. Locusts are swarming nations, eating the produce, eating the crops. Food supply is hindered. Supply chains are breaking down. Bring the attention back to the heart. See how it feels. Warm or cold, large or small, open or closed, light or dark. How does the heart feel? All this news is terrible, but it can only get worse. That pandemic that hasn't come to my neighborhood might come to my neighborhood. The cash reserves running low. The bank might run out. The news is bad, but it could get much worse, much closer, much more personal. Stay in the heart, observing any changes to your experience. You may keep your eyes closed. You may open them if you feel like. I have some slides, but they're not relevant to be seen as such. You can see them if you feel like, but there's no need. If you can use your mind's eye, it's all good. It's the nature of the news cycle, the way the news business works. So the nature of the news cycle is that, as the famous saying goes, if dog bites man, it's not news. If man bites dog, it is news. And so the way the news business works is that their job is to give us the worst news in the worst possible manner at the worst possible time. Because that's what people are interested in. Contrast is useful. If they're saying this today is the same as yesterday, what's the point of buying a newspaper? So contrast is interesting to people, the way our psychology works. And the way our psychology works, worse news is prioritized over better news. So for example, if I'm in the African savannah, this is 200,000 years ago, and there's an apple that is ripe at the other end of the jungle, versus there's a lion chasing me just down below on the tree. Below the tree, there's a lion chasing me. Which of these two news do you think I'm going to prioritize? The sweet apple at the other end of the forest, or this man-killing lion that's at the bottom of this tree? Obviously, I'm going to look at fear and not greed or hunger. And so that's how we are geared as a species, which is all species pay attention to the most worst news first. And the news business is designed around that, especially now when machines are driving, algorithms are driving the news. What they're doing, their job is to feed us the worst piece of news. In the pre-meditation we just did, you experienced some of the news that's been in the press. What's not in the press is that the rest of us are still alive, that the cure rate is actually pretty good for the pandemic, that while the economy is down, the stock market is up, that the cost of solar power is down, that pollution is down. It's not that there is not good news right now. It is that we're exclusively being given bad news. Not just now, that's been the case all over the news cycle. That's how the news cycle works. Now, the impact of this news cycle and paying attention to the news cycle, all of us are guilty of being news junkies. The impact of this news cycle is on the heart. The hridi, the heart itself, is our connection to our own self. Our heart here, not the physical heart, but the psychic heart here. Our heart here is our connection to the divine. And it's our connection to everything else. So when we say this heart is filled with love, this is the psychic heart that experiences that love. And the language of the heart transcends culture. It's not just an English thing or a Hindi thing or a Sanskrit thing. Every culture has language around the heart. I'll give you a few examples. With a heavy heart, I have to give this piece of news to you. It describes a heavy heart. Now, that's not just a figure of speech or a poetic thing. When someone uses that phrase, you understand what it means, because a heavy heart is filled with something, and it's filled with something that wants to open itself. After I cried, I felt lighter. That's a lightness. So heaviness and lightness is baked into the English language. It's the same with Hindi and Sanskrit and possibly your mother tongue, whichever that is. Warmth and coldness. Oh, that person has a cold heart. Coldness is an experience that people have. Warmth. Oh, this person has a really warm heart. When you meet them, they're very warm-hearted and they greet you with so much love and affection. It warms my heart to see my dog when I come back home. That is warmth that you experience, not in the physical heart, but in the psychic heart. So coolness, warmness, narrow heart, big heart. This is a big-hearted person, large-hearted person. Sher dil, they say in Hindi, lion-hearted. So all of these are words and phrases around the heart that speak of this heart, the Anhat chakra, this chakra itself, which, like a lotus in the night, is probably closed or open depending on what is the state of your heart. And usually the impact of all this news is that we start to build walls around our heart. Around your heart artery, for example, plaques build in when fat cells begin to deposit. Similar to that, around your psychic heart, you begin to form this hard-hearted state, because you're trying to insulate yourself, protect yourself from all the news, from all the bad stuff, from all the negativity that's going on. And the only way to protect our very gentle, very sweet little heart is to build a wall around it. So we become hard-hearted. We shield our own selves. So I'm giving you this sort of illustrative example that this is not merely poetic language. This is not merely something that's figurative, it doesn't actually exist. These are experiences. And I hope at the beginning of this sitting, with all the negative news I fed you, you felt your situation go from bad to worse. It was bad as you came in, and as I gave you news after news after news after news, you continue to feel worse and worse and worse. And soon you were reeling back and trying to protect yourself, shield yourself from all that terribleness that I gave you. And that's the problem with the modern world. Because we are news junkie, we consume so much news. We give ourselves just the worst bit of news, because again, that's the nature of the news business. It is not their job to give us good news. It is their job to give us the worst news in the worst possible manner, because that contrast is what you pay attention to. That's the interesting part. We're always looking for contrast. Because if someone says there's a pandemic today, pandemic today, pandemic today, pandemic today, pandemic today, after 3 months of sitting at home in the pandemic, we're kind of immune to the idea of pandemic. That doesn't touch our ears anymore. So then our heart is almost safe from pandemic news, but then they have to give us more bad news. Okay, there's something else going on. The economy is crashing. Oh my God, the sky is falling on our head. Aliens are coming. All sorts of news will be concocted to make it worse, because we get used to bad news. So worse news has to be given. And what it does to us is that not only does it make our heart shrink, make our heart colder, make our heart harder, it also impacts our health. It impacts our health because this psychic heart also plays on our overall sense of well-being. So we carry stress that we haven't relieved. We carry relationship stress that we haven't unburdened ourselves of. We carry things that we wanted to say to people but haven't, because we haven't been in that frame of mind. And all those things start taking a toll on the physical body. The sleep goes haywire, the attention span goes away, the ability to react to information becomes poorer. So we become worse at work. Our attention spans are low, our energy level runs low, our ability to influence people is poorer. All of these things are a result of this continuous barrage of negative news that we are exposed to. But I hope 100 days of being in the quarantine have told us one thing. We are still here and we're alive. And every day we don't choose to live, that's one less day that we've been alive. And clearly, that bad news, I'm sure there is terrible news, and some point something bad will happen to us, but not just this moment. And we don't need to live in continuous fear all the time. And so this habit of bad news is terrible. But why do we have a habit of bad news? How does it help us? It's the same reason why we have a habit of eating sugar, which is we're essentially puppets running on 3 strings. Those strings, those gunas, or those strings are Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. Now, what are these strings? Rajas is our ability to be outbound. Rajasic tendencies, as they say, outbound, which is anger is Rajas, any motive force, anything that moves us is Rajas. Tamas is ignorance or indolence or just laziness. Tamas is the opposite of Rajas in many ways, where simply we just want to lie back, we want to close our mind, and we just want to pull our attention in. But not because we want to meditate, but because we want to just withdraw. Sattva is clarity, luminosity. Sure, there are these occasions that we be through. And these 3 states are the most elemental states of being. And the yogis and the sages of the Hindu tradition discovered this thousands of years ago. And their understanding and their distillation of all of reality is simply this. In the Gita, Shri Krishna says, Guna guneshu vartante. It's one guna, one of these items working on the other. Rajas acting on tamas, tamas acting on sattva. It's anger inside acting on anger outside, or it's clarity inside acting on ignorance outside. It's just a game of these 3 gunas acting through our means. We feel that we are alive, we feel that we have willpower, we feel that we have an independent existence, but in reality, this is what Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in the Gita. In reality, it's really guna guneshu vartante. It's only these 3 strings acting on each other. And we feel like fools that we are in control. We are not in control. We are essentially just letting these properties, these states of being pass through us. We can rise above these, so we could rise above the three gunas, but that requires the ability to stand back and observe and pick which of the strings you want to pick. Changing your mood, changing your mode of operation is very much possible, but most of us are always asleep. Now the thing with rajas and tamas is like, if you think about sugar, and if you had the experience of having sugar, you're going to know that if you have sugar, you feel a perk of energy. So it gives you an instantaneous rajas. You feel like you should do something, you're filled with energy. But over time, every day, if you have sugar or sweet or tea or something at the same time, your body realizes that this guy is going to have sugar now. I'm going to start withdrawing my blood sugar levels because this sugar infusion is going to come. So what happens is the body gets used to this pattern, and sugar is preceded and followed by a crash, a reduction in blood sugar. So what happens now is, you've probably felt this when you've been snacking or having sugar too many times, is you feel what's called a sugar crash. That rajas is followed by tamas. And that crash is longer term. The spike of having sugar, the increased inactivity levels or energy levels is very momentary. 5 minutes, half an hour, and then 4 hours of just a crash, this bad mood, hangriness, hungry and angry together, that sets in. And that tamas, that's ignorance, that's acting in a really, really bad state of mind. So what's happening with the news cycle is not very different. It is we read it because it gives us something to feel angry about, something to feel. It gives us a feeling of some sort, any sort. So it has a little spike of rajas. Oh, this racial injustice is terrible. I must do something about it. So you feel this very small, brief spike of urge to do something, followed by a large, long-term pattern of crash, which is tamas. And so over time, because of this news cycle, we've fallen into this habit of not reacting, because essentially we've become immune to it, and we've actually got used to the state of just non-reaction, stupidity, and we just stay in that continuous state. The only thing that pulls us out of our stupor every now and then is much worse news. And then we wake up and say, oh no, this is terrible, something must be done. And then boom, after a couple of minutes, that event passes, and now we're in a lower lull than we've ever been. This pattern of negative news consumption is the same as the pattern of sugar consumption. It only leads to lows. It doesn't help you get out and do things. So when Bhagavan Sri Krishna says guna guneshu vartante, the guna that's acting from within is now a guna of tamas. Irrespective of how yogic or sattvic you are, if you're used to a bad news cycle, you're going to get used to inaction. And don't get used to inaction is the other learning of the Gita. Now what's the cure? What's the cure is to polish the mirror of the heart. What we're trying to do is open the heart again. The heart that has formed, there are these plaques or walls that we've formed around the heart by reading all this bad news. We want to polish the heart. Why do we want to polish the heart? First, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the ISKCON tradition goes back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He called this Chet Darpana Marjanam. Chet is Chetana, which is the heart. Darpana is mirror. And Marjanam is the same word as Hindi Manjna, which is to polish. Polishing the mirror of the heart. That is what a good kirtan does. That is what we want to achieve. Why? Because the way we see the rest of the world is essentially a reflection of our heart. We see the world not as it is, but as we are, as our heart is. Because our heart is filled with all this bad news, everything looks like bad news. Even good news appears to be bad news. The only way to counter all that bad news is to cleanse the heart. And that's Chet Darpana Marjanam. And the right technique for that, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is Kirtan, which, since I'm not great at singing, I'm not going to subject you to it. But sitting in a Kirtan, letting your heart flow, is a very important technique. Why is it an important technique? If you've been in a Kirtan that has really moved your heart, there's heart-related language again. If you've sat in a Kirtan and participated in it, and it's moved your heart, you might have been in that ecstatic state when your eyes are filled with tears. Your heart is it's melted away, it's just flowing away. And then at the end of that is pure lightness, pure bliss, pure joy. There's nothing, no time, no space, nothing. Just an expansive state of heart. That is possible by participating in a Kirtan. Just because you live in the West, just because you're English speaking and English thinking, Western minded people, doesn't mean this doesn't work. It works because you're human. It works because that's how we're designed, to have hearts that are open. So how are we going to open the heart? Today, we're going to ask a friend to help us. So let me talk to you about that first. What we're trying to do is this lotus. The lotus closes itself in the night, and then when the sun comes out, it opens back up. This opening of the lotus, this opening of the heart, is what we're going to attempt today. We're going to do that by calling a friend to help us. How are we going to ask a friend to help us? We're going to think about a friend and a memory of a friend. This is a 1922 French painting, by the way, called Rendezvous des Amis, which is a meeting of friends. So bring a friend and come along to today's sitting. We want to be seated in ourselves, not affected by all the terrible news. And before we go into today's sitting, which will be about 20 minutes, the underlying technique is robust. It's not something that I made up or that is just some modern age nonsense. This is directly from the Vijnana Bhairav Tantra. Shiva says to Devi, Anande Mahati Prapte Drishte Va Bandhave Chirat Ananda Mudratam Dhyatva Tallayas Tanmana Bhavet. Which is to say, when great joy is obtained through any meeting, such as the meeting of a bandhu, a relative, that ananda, that feeling of bliss, one should pay attention to that and then dissolve the self, absorb the self into that sense of bliss. That sense of bliss that comes from meeting a friend. When you meet an old friend and you just hug them and everything goes away, time stops. That's the feeling that we want to go to. And before I take you into that, I wanted to show you for just a few seconds what this experience is, how your heart and yourself will react when you're in that state. And to illustrate that, I show you this really interesting music video because it's fun, of course. One second. It's a great music video. I'm going to play that for a few seconds and then we'll come back. This is actually a Beatles song. It's called Across the Universe. But this song and this video is sung by Fiona Apple. song at your own time. But I hope you got a sense of what you should look forward to, which is your heart is filled with this sound, this music, and then the rest of the world can go to chaos, can go to tatters. Nothing can move you from this state because you're now seated firmly in yourself. Swastha, seated in the self. We want to reach that state where we're comfortably and without the ability of anything outside to move us. We are seated in ourselves in a state of swatmaram, right? Which is the state of aram, which is a comfort in our own self. That's the state we want to get to. And to get to that state in our heart, we're going to use the help of a friend. What's the friend going to do? The friend's job is to call attention to our heart and open the key to the heart. That key to the heart, you're going to go inside the heart and stay inside with the heart wide open. And that experience you're going to keep coming back to. We want to establish ourselves in that experience. A daily practice will allow you to find that place quicker and quicker every time. And then once you're able to stay in your heart, nothing will move you. Bad news can't touch you. The world can go to hell, but you're going to be in your own heart and comfortable inside. Now, before we go into the sitting, any question on anything I've said so far before we go into the sitting? Because your eyes are going to be closed and I'll be muting everyone. Any questions before we go in? 3, 2, 1. No questions. Great. All right, now please find a comfortable place. Sit comfortably. Sit in any comfortable posture with the back straight. Back, neck, and head in a straight line. Close your eyes gently and relax the expression on the face. Bring a gentle smile to your face. Keep the smile gentle, not forced, and let the smile tell your heart that it's all right. It's okay. The world is okay just this one minute. Relax your shoulders. Relax your belly. Think of a friend or a relative, a parent, a child, a lover, someone whose memory is fresh, forever fresh. One person and one person alone. Think of a time when you met them, which felt really good, a very cherished memory that you would go back to. We're going to come back to this memory of this friend in a few minutes. Just remember who it is and where it is that you're meeting this person. Bring the attention to the breath and let the attention travel into the belly. As you inhale, let the belly expand. As you exhale, let the belly return back. As you inhale, let the belly expand. As you exhale, simply let go. Inhaling, let the belly expand. Exhaling, just let go. Exhaling, just let go of all your thoughts. Inhaling, let the belly expand. Exhaling, just let go of all your preoccupations. Inhaling, let the belly expand. Exhaling, let go of all concerns and everything outside this sitting. Inhaling, let the belly expand. Exhaling, let everything go. Slow your breath down. Inhaling into the belly. Breathe fully and all the way into your body. And then exhaling, simply let go in a deep sense of surrender. A lightness settles over you as you let go. Breathing into the belly and then the entire body. Slowly without rushing. And then exhaling, letting go, letting go. Letting go in a deep sense of surrender. Breathing into the belly, letting the belly expand, and then filling up the entire body slowly. Exhaling and surrendering completely. We're going to make a very low, very long Om sound. Keep the attention at the heart center, at the center of the chest. Pay attention to the sound. Pay attention to the vibration. Pay attention to the energy that you feel at this center. Pay attention to the sense of space and movement that you might feel at this center. We're going to chant Om continuously for a few cycles. Very low in volume, but very long and continued. Keep the attention completely at the heart center. Relaxing completely. Exhale completely. Take a deep breath. Inhale. Open your mouth wide and your heart wider. Inhale. Listen to yourself. Inhale. 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 A few more times continuously. One more time. Silence. The lotus of the heart is beginning to open up. A space, a sense of energy, some vibrations still continue. Now keep the attention at the heart. And very slowly, very methodically and stepwise, we're going to find our friend and then connect with them from our heart. But we're going to do it very slowly. Keep the attention at the heart. Think about this friend, this parent, this person who means a lot to you, and just whose memories bring you joy effortlessly. Thinking about just the idea of that person. Now beginning to imagine that person's entire physical presence, still in the abstract. Visualizing the person wearing their normal clothes, whatever they like wearing. Now beginning to see more clearly this person's face, this person's eyes, imagining this person with a smile. Still in the abstract. Now taking your attention to that memory of this person together with you. Bring your attention to your heart. Thinking of the meeting with this person, but always watching your heart jump with joy, becoming warmer. Now you're in that moment. Watch your heart. Feel the heart open up. Feel an outpouring of love pouring out from the heart toward that person. Feel that connection. Keeping the attention on the heart, feeling that outpouring of love become stronger. Feel the energy flow from your heart toward the other person. Feel a sense of bliss, a sense of joy, a sense of great energy. And feel that sense of joy and energy expand in proportion with the experience of your love. Feel this experience expand, ever expanding, ever expanding. Continuing to expand this experience of love, opening the heart wider and wider. The world could be over this moment and you don't care less. All you want is to be in this state of experience. This connection that you feel with this dear person. Feel that connection expand and continue to expand and engulf more and more objects. Take more and more space in your heart. Open your heart wider and wider and wider, now covering the entire room, and wider still. Feel that experience of love now overtake your entire being. Feel that experience of the outpouring of your love now fill the entire room, fill your entire house. It's so much that it continues to pour still and now filling the entire city. Expanding still. Let this love expand and expand and expand. Now it fills the entire state. So much love that it could fill the entire country with your love and not run out. Now feeling your love cover the entire universe. All there is this experience of love, is this experience of connection, this sense of bliss, this sense of timelessness, this sense that everything that you need is right here in this moment and there is no other moment. All there is here, is now. Keep your attention in your heart. Keep the attention in the heart. just a tiny little being in this ocean of love. Feel yourself completely submerged. A sense of bliss, unconditional, all around you and in all inside. A sense of joy, a sense of luminosity, a sense of lightness, a sense of energy. Timelessness. You want nothing more. You can want nothing more. Everything is here fully in this very moment. When the feeling fades, just remember the meeting with this loved one again, and eventually, immediately, the feeling returns, and you're back in this ocean of bliss. Bring your palms together at the heart center, pressing your palms together, touching your fingers and gently touching the back of the thumbs into the chest. We're going to chant Om one time and then the closing prayer, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Exhale completely, take a deep breath. Inhale. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take your arms behind you, grab your right wrist with your left hand and then breathing in, stretch. Breathing out, bend forward in a deep sense of surrender. Come back up, breathing in, release your hands, rub your palms together to generate some heat. And then gently cup your eyeballs to transfer that heat, massaging the face and the neck. Blinking, open your eyes and pull your palms back like an open book. Thank you. I would really appreciate if you could give me your feedback on how the sitting worked for you, and I would also like to know what your experiences were overall.
Gaurav ji, it was a great experience. It was one of the, I would say, deeper sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent, Gauravji.
Yes, Gauraji, I felt lighter as compared to when I joined. Yes, you. I would like to make a recording.
I will share the recording, sure, yeah. Any other questions or on anything I said in the front half or any other comments? I would appreciate it.
Huh? I feel great.
Okay.
Overall, it's nice, Gaurav.
Thank you. Wonderful. All right. If there are any questions on anything I said at the front end, please send them to me and I'll be happy to answer them. And if you have any experiences you'd like to share with me personally, you can text me. I'm feeling a warmth in my heart over here, and I'm feeling a sense of, it's like a lotus that's rotating, a very slow, gentle rotation, but a feeling of flow that I'm experiencing right in my heart, and it's flowing toward you, but in general in all directions. That's how I'm feeling right now. So I appreciate your company in today's sitting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening and see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm covering a completely different topic. So I'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.